Mario!
Luigi's Mansion 1 is an amazing game. I just made a review on it not too long ago, and to sum it up, Portrait Ghost good. They are by far the best part of the game for me, and make the original such a standout that cannot be topped to this day. The first of these boss rankings I want to do on this channel is obviously the Luigi's Mansion 1 Portrait Ghosts. I'm going to be ranking them from worst to best in my opinion. The way I rank these are based on, once again, my opinion, as well as things like their design, aspects to the battle, and maybe a little lore, or honestly what else I'm feeling. Not really too much, it's just how fun or memorable I think these guys are. Alright, let's stop wasting time and get into it. Sue P sits at the end of this list for one reason only. That damn chandelier in the center of the room. I don't think I've ever gotten gold on my first try because I swear Luigi gets caught way too easily. Other than that, I don't care for her design, and the fight just feels really kind of meh at best. The gimmick where she flips the room, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and her puzzle being to make her wet the bed is a choice that Nintendo made, that's for sure. It's just another blow to this to know that she really isn't even required. I get all Portrait Ghosts every time I run through this game anyways, but this is definitely one I dread and I don't really care to do because going out of her way to get her just sucks. Uncle Grimly is boring. He shows up during the blackout and honestly felt like this battle could have had been more hype than it ended up being. Egad calls you to warn about a ghost who loves pure darkness and only will show up when the room gets this dark in the house. So, when the power goes out, Grimly steals the key to the breaker room and we have to seek his crusty ass out. His design and fight is also just boring. Hearing of a ghost that only lurks in pure darkness sounds badass, and then he turns out to be everyone's generic uncle that poses in front of mirrors, I guess? His puzzle isn't even that one either. Just wait until he opens up his heart after a few seconds to strike a dumb pose. That was fine when it was Area 1, but not the last area for a sort of puzzle. Where the battle should be more difficult, or hell, even interesting, it just kind of sucks. I'll put him over Soupy because there's no chandelier, though. For number 21, Neville is the first ghost that you fight, and honestly, I'd say despite being at the bottom, I think he's actually a very fine start. He sits in the study, reading, and every so often, he yawns, exposing his heart. It's a way to teach mechanics, I really do not mind this at all. It's very easy, very simple, but it starts with, having something to do other than just having an exposed heart right away. That's all that really needed to be, I think, for the first Portrait Ghost, and I think design's okay. Just being a cozy, fitted up Nigel Thornberry, so for that, you get to stay number 21. Next up in the lineup is also next in order, the mother, Lydia. While her husband reads, she plays with her hair, and you have to expose the draft in the room to make her get up and close the blinds. Having a little more to do and showing how to interact with the environment is the name of the game here. Once again, she echoes similar sentiment to Neville, just overall slight edge for not doing too much else. Design-wise, it's fine. The puzzle is a little bit stepped up from the last one. I think it just is a little bit better than Neville, which I think makes sense. Miss Petunia could have made the game a much higher rating if they actually went with her silhouette design. The shadow making you think Luigi finna see a hot ghost lady, only to see, well, her. Making her jump out of the shower, exposed by pummeling ice to the shower is nice, so kinda don't have to say, it's just a little funny, I guess, but the fight's fine, design is just, well, Honestly, not too much to say about this one. Moving on. For number 18, I have Shivers the Butler. Shivers gets a slight edge over a lot of the other ghosts because he has a really cool aspect that not many do. He wanders the hallways as most ghosts stay put in their respective room. He floats around it with his candelabra. After obtaining the fire element, you may think to light the candles, but apparently this is what the butler hates. He rushes to the personal room of his to put out the fire, allowing for you to strike at his heart. Being the first of using the elements to expose a boss in this game, he definitely has some of the most going for it so far. Design being a basic butler, design is also to be expected. Overall, it's a pretty fair fight, puzzle to boot. I overall think this one's fine. Next up is Spooky the Dog. He's alright, I guess. Honestly, the decent complexity makes this doggo go a little bit higher than the rest. So, after noticing Luigi and barking a bit, a skeleton ghost named Mr. Bones rises from the ground to yell at Spooky to shut the hell up. You take out the skeleton and drop a ghost bone to distract Spooky. Honestly, shout out to Mr. Bones, and sad there's zero respect for his own portrait or design. Other than that, there isn't really too much about this fight, aside from the Ghost Dog beating out Pokemon Scarlet and Violet by a few decades, and probably less buggy too in this game. Is that too soon? I don't know. Honestly, I've seen a lot of Sir Weston hate, which is probably warranted, I'd have to admit. I'd be lying if his design and room being a very nice variety from the rest of the ghosts puts him this high for me. because obviously a cold storage room is really cool, but the entire floor is a classic ice sliding puzzle where you cannot control Luigi. But when it gets down to the actual sucking up of the Iceman, the ice really doesn't affect any different than any other fight. You kind of slide around like an ice puzzle to begin with, so I didn't really think this is too big of an issue once you actually get into the struggle. But the pre-fight kind of sucks, trying to light fires that thaw out the ghost. So if that didn't suck, I'd probably put him higher. I wish only a few more ghosts had more interesting rooms and designs like Sir Weston, something I think the newer Luigi's Mansion games fixed to an extent, so at least that's cool. Number 15, I have the Floating Whirlindas. They're the first encounter in Area 2, and honestly, they're not too remarkable. The rotating dance floors and the other little enemies provide more resistance than those already encountered to this point. I guess a cool point about the couple is that they share a life bar. They aren't two separate ghosts. I'm sure there's some romantic irony there, but hey, they don't really have much else aside from going to a couple that loves to dance, even in death. But this is a very middle-of-the-road ghost that doesn't really have any glaring negatives, so I don't really have too much else to stand out, so that's kind of where I'm putting it here. For number 14 is Mr. Lugs. Mr. Lugs could have been a lot higher, but in my playthrough, this bastard made me lose my speedy spirit in his room that I was trying to catch. Oh, speed spirit. No, you fat fuck! I'm mad now. Now on to the actual game critique. Lugs is a fat, gluttonous ghost who ate himself to death and continues to engorge himself. You have to light the candles to set the table and call the waiter ghosts. They will continuously supply Lugs with this food until you suck up the food for yourself. Lugs, of course, being the fat fuck that he is, will get pissed and blast fireballs at Luigi. After some time, he gets tired from vomiting and gives you the chance to strike. This is a surprisingly complex fight for Area 2, and I overall enjoyed this fight. The big dining table can get in the way, like many other furniture in the other fights, but it's no chandelier. It can ruin a good run at the very least. Overall, this obese foodie stays at a good middle ground for me as well. For number 13, I have Madame Clairvoyant. She has a very unique design and honestly holds a more significant role than the majority of the bosses we have seen so far. She's actually a lot more helpful than Ghost so far, giving us clues when giving her pieces of Mario's gear, left behind before he got captured by King Boo. While the hints aren't super helpful and honestly just more goofy flavor text than anything, she gives a fun extra development to the portrait ghosts for the middle section of the game. You can return throughout areas 2 and 3, and once you have returned all fight items, she accepts her fate and goes back into the vacuum. However, she still puts up resistance and throws poison mushrooms at you? Kinda rude. The battle itself is very simple and easy, but this wacky psychic is a fun character and fight to have in the original Luigi's Mansion lineup. I love this edition. Number 12 is Chauncey the Spoiled Baby. He's kind of freaky. Not just since he's a dead baby. I mean, Nintendo really trying to cover their ground. To less I see, everyone else has a way they died, and then Chauncey apparently was just born a baby, so they didn't want any allegations of child death, I guess. And Chauncey is just uncomfortable, plus his face makes, when he screams, is, well, definitely something else. Chauncey is the Area 1 boss, and first of the full fights you get to do in this type of game. After refusing to get hit by Chauncey, throwing his toys at you, you shoot a ball back at him, making the baby pissed. You get warped to an alternate plane where a giant Chauncey lobs a series of toys while you repeat what you did in the mansion to expose the heart. In Area 1 tradition, it's not overly complicated, but it's a good first impression to the area bosses and to show that some may be willing to put up more of a fight. Overall, quite like this Demon Baby. I think it's a good first true boss for this game. Just please stop screaming. That face is nightmare fuel. Number 11, going from the first full fight to the last, King Boo. King Boo makes sense to have a lot more complicated of a fight. King Boo dons a giant Bowser suit and tried to, well, fight like Bowser. He breathes fire, shoots out spiky explosive balls and the like. The spike balls can be launched back to knock off the head of Bowser, suit flinging Boo from it. You could try to suck up King Boo, and his health pool is quite massive, being 500, the largest in the game. It goes down honestly, admittedly quick, so it will take a few rounds. King Boo is fairly challenging, can deal some hefty damage, and one critique I would throw is aiming with the spike balls is kind of a chore. It's annoying to do, and I don't know, maybe my depth perception is awful. That probably is it. It can be very finicky and annoying to land, though. Although as a final boss, I would have preferred not a similar vein to Mario 64, just more ghostly, but can't change that. As the final roadblock, I'd say it's a fitting final fight for Luigi, all things considered. For number 10 is Boo-Lossus, another full area boss. Lore-wise, he's the last portrait ghost that EGAD captured before the events of the main game. Boo-Lossus is a large boo consisting of 15 smaller boos. This does add to the final count of 50 boos in the game, so I appreciate that you don't have to catch all 50 individual. This fight is generally pretty fun. Boo-Lossus bounces around, and you have to try to lead him to one of the unicorn statues to pop the ghost into mini boos like a balloon. You have to spray each boo with the ice element to make them able to be sucked up in one go. This repeats until all are gone. Obviously, when less boos are present, the Colossus boo is faster and smaller, making the timing to pop them harder. This can hold the fight back, as I think the last few boos can be simply annoying as hell to capture. Overall, as the boss of Area 3, I think he's a solid point in the game for challenge and finds himself at the bottom of the top 10. While being a reused design for Nintendo, I guess, it's still overall pretty fun. Nana is the geriatric hanging out knitting away. She allegedly likes to pull pranks on the other ghosts, like dumping ice in Miss Petunia's shower, and that's how you got the hint there. I mean, that's quite based. Her puzzle is knocking over her yarn basket and shooting the yarn balls at Nana. She has objects trying to hit at you, but the fight stays with a solid middle ground fight in terms of difficulty and not having many cons to it. Aside from the lack of personality, but I guess you can't have it all. Once all 3 balls hit Nana and expose her heart, you capture all the same. Very similar design to next up on the list. Bouncing off is Slim Bank Shot. Battle design wise, he is basically identical to Nana. Slim breaks the pool balls, having them fly around the room. Luigi uses a pool ball to hit Slim Bank Shot and expose his own heart. The room layout, physical design, and personality, if you can even say they have them, just differ. I like Slim a little bit more just because the pool aesthetic than Grandma knitting a scarf does it for me. So Mr. Slim edges just a tad more. Pool, I guess, is a little bit more fun. I'd say the shooting balls at Ghost mechanic is a solid idea. Similar to the King Boo fight, I just enjoyed a little bit more here. Number 7, the Clockwork Soldiers are one of the very odd standouts in the Portrait Ghost War roster. They resemble Nutcrackers to a degree and are 3 individual ghosts. They all have their own health pool, unlike the Warlindas from earlier, and move on their own to boot. The middle soldier, the blue one, is the holder of the pearls and the portrait, being the only one to affect your rank. Not knowing this could suck, but it helps on subsequent runs when trying to leave him for last, so his boys don't pop you. The soldiers march around trying to shoot at Luigi. You have to use your vacuum to make the backs of the soldiers fall off, allowing a clean suck. This battle is genuinely one of the most difficult in the game, with the 3 of them all doing their own thing to hurt Luigi. I have seen some people dislike this fight a lot, but in terms of pure design, this might be one of my favorite designs of the Portrait Ghost. It's just a really cool design. The difficulty fits for being late in the game. I just overall love this fight. Number 6, Jarvis. What a goofy little guy. He has an optional fight in Area 4 and has to play a game after admiring his jar collection. Using ice to hit Jarvis in a similar fashion to something of whack-a-mole, and if you win his requirements, he starts a battle similar to the rest. I like the design and overall atmosphere for the fight. Not very serious looking, like goofy dudes like him. It's just a purple guy who likes jars. What's not to love? The final fight and puzzle all around very solid to me. Not super difficult, all being considered, but that's probably what keeps him out of the top 5. Starting the top 5 is Mr. Biff Atlas. The jacked up bodybuilder is another goofy dude. It honestly makes sense that he's optional. My man is out here just getting swole and we do not even have to bother him. Suck up one of the sandbags near Mr. Atlas and launch at him, he gets pissed. Understandably, he tries to punch you after all this. You could try to hit him again to expose his heart and take him out, but like, why? He literally does not bother you. So rude. I cannot say why. I really like this fight design and all. The equipment on the ground could be a little bit annoying, but I have not had that many issues with others like Soupy. For some reason, I just really enjoy this ghost hobby the most, where he just continues to improve and get buff. What a guy. I don't know, just seems like a jolly dude. Number 4 is Henry and Orville. The twins and older brothers, the Chauncey, are a super memorable batch to me. Similar to the soldiers, they have their own health pool, and only one holds the pearls and rank for getting captured. The twins getting their attention focused on Luigi and want to play hide and seek. Once winning their very easy game, they accuse Luigi of foul play and get into their vehicles to attack Luigi. Henry in his car and Orville in the plane, referencing Henry Ford and Orville Wright for the English translation, which is also just a pretty neat touch for me. I like the multiple steps of this fight. The satisfaction of beating these annoying assholes and capturing like the rest of their family is also nice too. I also like the fact that their room being in Area 1, but the key is hidden in Area 3, taking a while to access, kind of builds up suspense and being a memorable part for me, like, what's behind the door, only to find these two little douchebags. Number 3 is Bogmire. Bogmire is such a cool fight. Everything about this dude is sick. The design is more creepy than a lot of the other designs in the game, as well as the atmosphere surrounding him. The lore also being obtuse, I feel like it adds more since he isn't really a person resembling. The game claims he's a manifestation of the fear and despair of the mansion, turned to this amalgamation. Bogmire is the Area 2 boss, and this area takes you to the graveyard dimension for this fight. He sends shadow clones at Luigi, and you can counter them by trying to suck up the shadows, using them as ammo to bounce back at Bogmire, causing the heart to surface. This fight is pretty fun and solid. Everything surrounding the ghosts I feel to be sick and really sticks out as one of the best portrait ghosts and fights in the game. Melody Pianissima is super simple, but honestly gets a leg up at number 2 for one reason alone. My bias for the music. I love video game music, and she embodies the best of the portrait ghosts and what they have to offer. terms of just how I think they should be handled. You mess with the musical instruments in the room until Melody appears. She plays a tune from classic Mario games, and you have to guess it correctly. Winning her little quiz starts the battle, where she flings music sheets at you suck them up, and then hit her right when the heart exposes. Difficulty is honestly very easy, and the puzzle is not overall challenging, but this is just such a fun idea for a portrait ghost, and I love her fight every time I come across her. It's these moments in the top 5 that make the game so special to me, the uniqueness of each encounter completely tailoring to a ghost personality. Like, they all were doing their own thing when they were alive, now they're ghosts doing pretty much the same thing. It's just such a cool idea. Moving on to the last ghost, process of elimination pretty much leads you to number 1, Vincent Van Gogh. Let's start. The name pun, I appreciate. The design is also great, the lore is very cool. Gore is a creator of every non-portrait ghost, and also excluding the booze. He locked himself in the studio, endlessly creating more ghosts. The idea of this deranged artist vibe is totally cool. I like that they went with him as one of the main antagonists, as he definitely stands out. His battle too, of course, helps him get to this spot. Gore sends waves of his minor ghosts to attack Luigi, turning into a war of attrition, hoping to wear you out. When all ghosts are defeated, Gore does honestly not do much else besides resisting like all the other ghosts when you get vacuumed up. Once defeated, the Area 4 boss is taken down, and all that's left to do is confront King Boo. The final portrait ghost is a great one to end on, thematically making sense to tie up loose ends of the ghost before taking out the Boo invasion and saving Mario. Obviously the less focused part that Luigi had, I'm sure, but it still fits for an ending. The fight and lore behind it make it such an easy choice for me as the game's best portrait ghost boss. Everything about this fight was super good, and honestly the lead up to it was some of the best. The game has a great lineup, and as already stated, is the biggest reason why I keep Luigi's Mansion 1 as my favorite in the series to date. The uniqueness of these encounters may never be matched officially, but I am curious to see how the rest of you think about these ghosts and which ones you rank as your favorites. Is my ranking insane? Do you like other Luigi's Mansion games? Let me know. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later for another video, ranking boss, or whatever else I have planned. Till then, guys, see ya.